Hello, and good morning. Alright, so first off, hopefully this volume's okay. I'm actually seeing right off the bat that it probably isn't. It almost always isn't. Such is life. Let's go ahead and tone that down just a tiny tad right there. See if hopefully that ends up fixing the issue. So, this is one that I've seen get a lot of crap over the years. Actually, funnily enough, going to be doing this with even blind controls, because I don't remember how the hell this weird emulator ends up going and translating these controls. So, we'll be seeing how that goes. But yeah, I've seen this game get a lot of crap over the years. It's personally one that I grew up with. I friggin' loved it. It's got some weird systems, that's for sure, but dang it, we're going to give it a go. So like none of anything else I can really think of off the top of my head, starts off with a bit of a snowball fight. You know, it's weird because, obviously they went for a little bit more of a kiddie approach on this one, but I would kind of describe it more of the feeling I always got from this is kind of similar to, of all things, like Harry Potter or something like that, you know? It's like this whole thing where it's like, yeah, it's this whole schoolyard kind of feel and everything else, but there's still a whole grim side to all of it. There's still a whole bunch of like different stuff going on. So honestly, I would describe this one as being close to the first book, and then would say the second one was maybe closer to maybe fourth or fifth or something like that. I'm just gonna leave this as Marsh. Actually, no. Go ahead and change this to Ramza, because clearly that's who this is supposed to be. Like, they even kept his weird hairdo and everything else. Actually, first time... oh, wait, sorry. Ah, what the hell? Some random crumb or some crap that was stuck in there. Alright. Yeah, my first time through this thing, I think I called him Ramza too. But here's the thing. You can tell that this was supposed to be the sequel. For those that don't know, FFTA, and again, this seems weird to say in retrospect, but FFTA and FFTA 2 were basically made of the remnants of what was supposed to be just FFT 2, pretty much. So they're just going to go on and start talking about the snow, and like, oh, are you still in the snow? Basically, it's implied that this is the far future after FFT. You know, basically same place, everyone kind of looks, give or take, similar. You got Ritz over here, who's kind of supposed to be your Agrius of sorts. A little bit. I mean, she kind of looks somewhat similar, but kind of your femme fatale character, as it were. And actually, she serves as kind of a pseudo-antagonist throughout most of this. Surprisingly enough, the main antagonist is that dork on the right there that everyone was picking on. Repeat lesson. Dear God, no. Thankfully, it's a standard on no. Yeah, it's a bit of a long tutorial there. By the way, I see a couple people are here already. If you could please let me know if it's actually possible to hear everything correctly, because the music in this is fan-friggin-tastic. So, funnily enough, you can actually make your own team lose. Well, you're going to lose anyway. There's no way to actually win it, but you can actually cause your own team to pretty much get knocked out here. Like, for example, Mute. If you end up getting lucky hits on him over and over and over, you can get him knocked out. And considering he's supposed to be the main bad guy later, you know what? It's kind of deserved. He's kind of a dickbag about what he does. He kind of comes off as a spoiled douchebag in a sense. Which is weird, because he's kind of the, like, broke kid with alcoholic father stereotype in this one. Funnily enough, he's just a random librarian that introduces you to the whole book world and everything else in the second game. Yeah, if you never knew that, you can actually see him in the second game. You never see Marsh or Ritz. You see Marsh get referenced, and you see Ritz... Let's see. I think Freya was supposed to be, like, somehow related to her or something. Or actually, no, I think you find the remnants of her clan wandering about or something. You know, considering how, you know, how much these get friggin' pooed on, kind of amazing that, kind of amazing the amount of effort they put in. By the way, if you're wondering why exactly these guys are getting picked on, well, the health bars are basically going to be enough to tell you. Their lowest one is right there, I think, with 19. Their highest is 30-something, whereas on average your guys have like 10. So you're kind of the dorks is what they're trying to get across here. Go away, Mute. It's funny because they give you just enough turns that if you don't miss anything, you can end up hitting mute. But that's what I was trying to show. They actually have squatting animations for them and everything. This is something that seemed a little bit strange to me, because if you didn't know, there were similar teams, at least to some degree, that had made FFT, that had made FFTA, etc. It wasn't all directly Matsuno for FFTA and FFTA2, as well as Knight of Lotus. But here's the weird part. There's a few features that didn't seem to get carried across whenever he was going and bringing things with him, because obviously he made a lot of games like this. But it's weird. It's like he was trying to evolve and everything else, but there were a few things that he didn't bring, and this, for some reason, only the handheld ones. So Knight of Lotus, FFTA, FFTA2 are the only ones that had the whole being able to deploy your guys while you're actually on the map thing. And pretty much all the other ones you were just kind of blind as far as who you were actually sending in. Alright, so now time for the longest frickin' cutscene in the game. Gonna go ahead and have a chug of water in that time. He's talking about his brother in the hospital. So it's funny, Doned, that's the guy in the hospital. Like, basically everyone here is an antagonist, because this is the one game in the series where the main character is a complete and utter dimwit. The guy is a moron. Like, he just comes across as neutral, basically, or like Ramza type, as it were. But he is a complete and total just... The guy's a douchehole, okay? Like, here's the thing. You know what? It now occurs to me that that was a really stupid decision. Okay, hang on. First off, 2 times audio. 2 times. We're gonna speed through this because, actually, let me go ahead and change that button real quick. Where is it? Nation. Why am I not allowed to change that button in particular? There's a button that basically resets the entire emulator, and it's set to the same button that I have for the mic. So it basically just went and restarted everything. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and restart that a bit. Going to go ahead and do everything in fast forward all of a sudden. You know, honestly, we probably should have done it in fast forward anyway. I'll just go ahead and wait all these turns out. But, point being, like, why I'm saying that he's kind of an a-hole here, as you'll see in just a minute, he'll get transported to another world, basically. As far as that whole comparing it to Harry Potter thing, you know why? Because they basically get told, okay, you know, you basically can do anything here, you know, everything's amazing, you basically can't even die anymore. You can do anything you ever wanted to do, there's few problems that can't be sorted out with friggin' utter video game-isms and everything else. For all intents and purposes, it is the exact same world, just everybody's doing way better. So yeah, like, the entire world basically just gets transformed into the thing. It's not even like they got sent off to another place. And his logic is, well, you know what? None of this is real for me. So therefore, I have to go wreck the world in order to make it all boring and dull again. And, I mean, everybody comes back and, I guess, learns lessons, but they're all basically just kind of living in what is more or less described as kind of a ghetto. And, yeah, they're all just kind of going back to being a little bit depressed. Except, little faults about themselves, but I don't know. I think that's probably why with the second one they went ahead and just completely changed everything around. Because with the second one, the protagonist basically just is sitting there like, okay, you know what, yeah, there's really no reason for me to go back. So while technically the plot says, oh, you know, you have to go back because his grandma's worried, they basically say right before the very last mission of the thing, like, you know, you can, like, time isn't passing there, presumably, so you can just kind of chill here for as long as you friggin' want. I mean, nobody ages, nobody does any of that, you just can stay here for as long as you want, so it's all fantastic. And, pretty much that's what happens. I mean, you can stay there, let's see, in total there were 300 missions to that thing. I think this one had maybe 100, something like that. I mean, I have to say, the GBA had some pretty darn amazing stuff on it. Like, hands down, just comparing, just of all handhelds and everything else, I think I got the most mileage out of a GBA. And at least half of that was FFT, Night of Lotus, and Golden Sun, both the Golden Sun games. God, those were so good. Actually, there's mods for all but Night of Lotus. FFTA has a few mods out there. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of any of them. I've tried them all. Most of them are the usual kind of trying to emulate FFT 1.3 type situation. But yeah, I wouldn't... I guess the closest was FFTA X. That one's pretty good. But even still, most of them were just, you know, like nerfing the good stuff, going and... Oh. So they're saying right here, like, his dad's drunk. Probably attack this guy. Usual kind of stuff. Well, actually, no, he just showed up late for work, I'm pretty sure. At any rate, you know, it does the usual balance changes. I don't feel like FFTA had as much broken stuff as FFTA 2. I mean, there's plenty of broken stuff, but just all the FFT games in general are filled with broken stuff at all angles. So it ends up working out pretty well. It just makes it more fun. The one thing they did change that was a positive change in FFTAX, and was the whole reason that I like that one, is that they made the random encounters have more stuff on them. It's kind of a double-edged thing, though. Pretty much the way that it goes, you've got... what am I trying to say here? You've basically got the thing that, okay, suddenly there's a bunch of stuff that's stealable, but the random encounters are a little bit more interesting. I think they're kind of alright as they are already. I mean, they're basically there to be grind fights. They just sort of show up and attack territories, and the idea is that you have all these different party configurations that are suddenly showing up and attacking your territories. Which is another thing that they never really had in later games, unfortunately. I mean, to some degree, they had it in FFTA 2, but I never saw the whole back-and-forth mechanic used as well as it should have. Actually, what they should have really done is had a mode for the Luck remake, where stuff would randomly show up and attack your territories. That would have made a lot more sense. Simply because that used to be a thing in Ogre Battle and all of that. It was pretty fantastic in those. You know, you'd go take a town, if you didn't leave a squad defending it or something like that, it would immediately get swarmed, because they're like, okay, nobody's watching this, I guess we're gonna yoink their crap, and then your reputation goes down, and yeah. So yeah. Can you let me know? I just noticed a third guy showed up. Can anyone tell me if audio is okay, or if I need to turn down the game audio a bit? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't think anyone's typing anything. Probably not. Right. Preemptive audio adjustment. Get over here, mixer. Going up for a sec. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that should be alright. Maybe kind of, sort of. And yeah, they're all trying to figure out, like, hey, we found this crazy magic book, what should we do with it? I don't know, let's all stare at it. And it's at this point they're like, hey, do you know that there's a thing that exists that's called the video games? Oh my god, who could have thought of some technology? Oh, audio's fine? Good to know. Thank you, Mr. OG. Gee, Final Fantasy is his favorite in a Final Fantasy game. No way! Who'd have thunk it? And alright, so they just basically all discuss that they're children and they love games and have the world's most comically oversized skateboard on the right there, and also apparently make tea. It has been boiling very quietly for a very long time now. I think that tea might just be on fire. I don't know. There's some crazy huge rabbit ears on that TV, too. God, I love this game. Like, okay, so there's all kinds of stuff that people give crap to this thing for. Mostly it's the law system. And here's the thing. I think it's just, in many cases, people misunderstand the kinds of things you could actually, you know, go and manipulate using that thing. because it actually goes both ways. I mean, the other team is still unable to do it. It's one thing that they ended up changing in FFTA 2, because in that one, there's just laws that apply to you. You get a bonus as long as you follow them, and then if you don't, you lose the ability to revive, and you basically lose whatever bonus you had going on for you. So in this one, it's instead that you basically take a penalty whenever you break a law. So for example, it's like a whole plot point that Doned there, the guy in the wheelchair, as well as the other kid with a bowl cut, both of them are kind of off in the background. They're pissed off that their world's getting messed up, so they're like, dude, just enforce a ton of laws to make none of this happen, because this is all we can really do. This is our power here. We can't just go and start straight up war here, so enforce all kinds of weird laws, okay? And they do that. And yeah, so the idea is you break a law, you get a penalty depending on severity of it. So, like, let's say there was a law that said you can't attack directly. Basically, that just means you can't use, like, the run-up and attack command, but for example, if you go up to the guy and, say, just use some skill on them, that's perfectly fine. But if you go and you attack them normally, you'll usually get a yellow card, which will usually result in, like, some stats being removed, or they might get their item confiscated. I want to say, like, it was fitting based off what they did. Like, as I recall, breaking the fight law resulted in getting your weapon confiscated. Which, considering that you get skills from weapons in this one, I don't think there's many, aside from the ultimate weapons, I don't think there's any ones that you can absolutely never replace. But yeah, usually you gotta be pretty careful about that stuff. Usually the confiscation ones are pretty rare. But the idea behind this one, and why I was saying it definitely makes sense that it's FFT's sequel, is because they in many ways corrected the problems that FFT had. Namely, its balance was completely jacked up, mostly because of the fact that you could go and learn abilities and, well, functionally just a hyperbolic time chamber type situation. So what happened with that one, in each fight that you got into, everything scaled up a little bit, but you could essentially abuse that system because you could, for example, get Tailwind over on Ramza, and then yeah, you would just go and use that over and over on your guys. Say you had a knight with speed break or something, you would get one unit that was wounded, they would go hide in a corner, and then you would get somebody with an area heal move. You would have everyone wail on each other for like a friggin' hour, while repeatedly healing themselves, and they would just get a few points every time. So, like, over the course of that one fight, you could easily just completely max out somebody's class, and it's really fun to do. So the way that they changed it in this one, you get your skills based off of what your units have equipped. So, for example, there's a pretty solid reason to keep all of your items around. Oh wait, excuse me. Because at certain times, you may find out that one item, for example, teaches one thing to one class or teaches something different to a different class. Like, I think the basic shield ends up teaching Shield Bearer to a bunch of classes, which lets them just use shields as different classes and stuff like that. Also, this is easily one of my favorite lines in the entire thing. An observer of the obvious. And so yeah, like he's saying there, he's just explaining the laws. So today, you can't use items. So they just have a pretty constant annoyance that the laws change every single day. Yes. Marsh, you are a bit of a numbnuts. Let's go ahead and move on here. It's actually perfectly possible to lose this first fight, surprisingly. A lot more so than you'd think. Like, especially for FFTA X, it was quite a challenge. Because Mr. Montblanc over here had a tendency to get himself completely rocked. Now right here, even in this one, he's gonna get 2/3 of his health taken off with a single hit, so if that judge wasn't there to block this guy, it would probably be the same thing. And in most cases, they will actually go ahead and gangbang Montblanc over there, and then you're kind of stuck. You're not necessarily stuck, you can kind of outfight these guys, but, he definitely sticks his neck out for you. He's a nice little rabbit demon thing. What a nice guy. With horrible accuracy. I will say right off the bat, my favorite build to always make for Montblanc, I always like to make him a gun wizard. He's in charge of your... Yeah, exactly. Dude, I was such a friggin' dorky kid about this when I was a kid. I thought it was a legitimately okay thing to add that to the end of sentences for like a week. Until, like, one of my friends is there just like, Jesus Christ, dude, what the hell? What are you doing? Like, I don't know, I thought it was a thing, and... Okay, so there we go. Okay, well, verified, so you got a point. So... Like, right... What am I saying here? Thanks, brain. So, like he's saying right here, combos, you don't get those for quite a while. It's kind of weird that they introduce this mechanic so early. Yeah, you basically have mithril weapons about, I'd say, third to halfway through the game somewhere. And basically each of those, you teach somebody a combo, you equip it as one of their passive abilities. So, for example, instead of using a shield as any class, they could have the ability to combo, and then, you know, you just go and essentially use that combo to completely wreck stuff. So you would have multiple units tagging up on one guy. Those could be amazing, but they could also kind of suck. It's basically, it's just a basic attack otherwise that uses your judge points. Which, funnily enough, the other day, that fight command law I was talking about, that's actually one of those things I was testing out, and yeah, using combos, perfectly fine. Just hitting the guy against law. It's weird like that. Alright, so now he goes down. I think of all the FFT games, I want to say this intro is the most likely to be lost. Yeah, Crystal Chronicles? Yeah, that one was interesting. I really loved the art style of that one as a kid. Actually had, he gets to combo right off the bat. Right. Or was it some certain combos you had to do? Well, until then, you can at least pretty much use this without any kind of worries. So until you get your other combos and everything else for your other characters... Trying to think how this works exactly, because I know you had to use the mithril stuff to learn combos. Let me take a look at his status. Maybe he just knows it. Yeah, so he knows combo already. He just comes with it. Alright. And he comes with first aid, which will just help him out slightly. By the way, so you're saying there as far as not using Banga? So it's funny because they kind of get the short end of the stick in this one. Their accuracy isn't very good, but here's the thing. The one that you start with gives the most negative possible impression that you can have of Bangas. Like, you get a slightly randomized first party, but you're always going to have a monk. And monks, instead of being the completely unfailing super beasts that they were in FFT, are kind of like, I'll describe them as a generally utilitarian, kinda weak class in this one. But okay, so... And then, there we go. So this guy is actually gonna change the rules right here. He went ahead and used an item. And like he's saying there, he's gonna get sent to prison. So, if you've noticed earlier, he ended up getting a yellow card. They could have explained this a little bit better, and Mont Blanc probably will get sent there because they'll probably forget a law at some point. But yeah, no. This place is a complete iffy situation as far as laws go. But okay, so yeah, earlier on, he tries to use an item, ends up getting himself a yellow card, and now he ends up getting himself a red card and actually sent away. Which is exactly how that's going to work, except for some cases where some stuff is really minor, so they just keep giving you yellow ones for a while. And I believe you get a higher bounty the more cards somebody has collected until you just basically can't get them back. So that's an issue. Normally they get stuff confiscated when they're arrested and all that sort of thing. The system scared a lot of people off. It's more... Honestly, it's more fun than it may sound. Especially once you get the ability to manipulate laws, because about halfway through, once they start introducing new laws and everything else, it's, they start introducing new stuff like, hey, you can basically just change them as you want. Like, hey, you notice all those guys using bows over there? Should be a shame if friggin' archery was illegal. So, yeah, the AI will usually respect it unless you force them not to. Like, sometimes they will just sit in a corner because everything has been made illegal for them. You can completely douche people over, and it's hilarious. By the way, he likes saying how everyone looks scary. You have the most non-intimidating 4 classes in the game to start with. I mean, your wizard is basically a fluffy teddy bear thing over there. You got a rabbit as an archer, you got a guy dressed super French over there. You got a white mage, and you got a monk. All of them are the nicest looking classes. And making it a cool name. So Nutsy is the standard. Need a name here. I'm gonna default to Potato if nobody has a cooler name here. Do you have a particular layout they like using for placements of locations on the world map? Yes, actually. I really like having all of the towns in one place and then just having a big old open wilderness. Mont Blanc has the same role in FF12. Yeah, he has a lot of roles. It's amazing how much this guy gets around. Vote for Potato? Okay, we're gonna go for Potato then. Gonna be Clan Potato. Clan Starch-tastic, although it wouldn't have... Yeah, I don't think Starch-tastic would fit. You're pretty limited on letters. Yeah, his, I believe his, team name is still, Nutsy. In that one. Usually when his team's around, it's gonna be Nutsy. Alright, so you only have 2 places that you have no choice in the matter on. But everything else has this cool mechanic where you can just kind of put your towns wherever you want them. So I really like having just a big old, like, megalopolis over here. So we didn't get any shakes. Normally when you put one down, you can run over to it and you get, like, a free treasure kind of thing. Let's go to the party. Actually, first things first, let me go ahead and save. I love this thing so friggin' much. I'm not going to go to the store, but we're going to go to the party here. He can be any of these folks. I'm going to go ahead and make him one of these, because I really like having him with the ability to just nab crap all the time. Doesn't have anything that'll actually fit him. That's fine. He's fine as this, although I'm going to end up changing him to... I believe I have to do Thief and then Animist in order to unlock Gunner. I forget exactly how that goes. So he's going to be he's going to learn his main casting abilities, and then he's going to be a gunner. I might just leave him as a soldier. That's fine. So this guy, the funny part is, since he's trained as a white monk, since he's using the default stats of a white monk, even if you change him to a warrior, he's always going to end up being weaker than any other fighters that you run into. I don't know why they specifically went with this, because if it was the other way around, he would just always have an advantage. This guy is at a permanent disadvantage. He will likely suck all game. I'm just saying that now. You're fine as that. I want her to be an illusionist down the line. I think that's a her. It's kind of unclear what the hell they are. So Doge is going to be an illusionist, and Rabbit Chick, you're going to be a fencer. Actually, you know what? You're going to be an archer for now. They do want to have at least one ranged unit, and he's the one who can probably do that job pretty well. Go ahead for a longbow. If you go to these, you can see what kind of ability they give you. So it says right here, 2 different races, 2 different things get boost. This is just basically, kind of a pretty average thing that you get. Got a leather jacket, perfectly fine. Fine, you're fine. That's more of a just regular chain, just a mail shirt more than a chain plate, but whatever. Fine. You're gonna get Whirlwind. You're gonna get Cure. The nice thing when it comes to casters, by the way, it often seems daunting how many abilities they need to learn to get another class. Like, I think for Illusionist, it's... let's see, I want to say it's 5 Black Mage abilities, 3 white, if I'm not mistaken. So at the beginning here, I'm gonna have Mont Blanc is going for Gunner. Gonna have Gonna have her switching between her different roles. This one's gonna switch between Fencer and White Mage. That's gonna be that whole thing. Gonna go ahead and need to buy a fencing saber. Go ahead and buy a hat, or a helmet rather. And buy a couple of these, one of these. It's really nice not having to worry about levels right now. Get some bronze armor, because why not? I do like that you can go and upgrade everybody pretty much right off the bat. And as you can see here, the soldier is kind of a combination of the knight and squire from FFT. Power break. I think probably gonna go for speed break, unless... Nah. So here's the cool thing, because you basically need to use this for 5 fights, because you just get 20 points with each one. So it's a very slight difference between all these different weapons here. You know, you get access to all kinds of different stuff as you go on. But right here, this is why I want to give that one lady the fencer abilities. Because having an assassin with Swarm Strike is amazing. Here we go. Go ahead and give you a hat. Go ahead and give you a stinger. Go ahead and give you a shield. I believe we'll teach you things. Sure will. Go ahead and... nothing else. Okay. Fine, I think... Nope. Not what I thought it was. Go ahead and switch up to armor here. I believe this chain, though, can probably replace this, which can then go to her. There we go. Pretty alright. Put that there, nothing there, nothing there. Just making sure everyone has all of their stuff, more or less. Again, pretty similar to FFT here. There we go, you're the other one that should be learning stuff, but you are not. Why are you not doing that? Be giving him... Who cares? First things first, go get job. Herb picking. So an interesting thing is you can go and assign items to actually make fights easier. So for example, you saw 2 slots there. You get a number of items throughout the game, and you basically just get them as rewards and that sort of thing. So if you slot those in, you'll get little bonuses, like for example, you know, a certain element might be better, or everyone might start off with a little more health, or that sort of thing. It's nice. It's a nice little way to pretty much cater to whatever you really want to do. Alright, so that's going to be over here. Go ahead and give that a little bit of a look. Shockwave range isn't weapon-based? No, it is not. However, you know what's really awesome? Is the fact that they never really thought through the fact that you could use pretty much any ability with your actual weapon range. So, for example, if you've got... I think my favorite is probably just fencer abilities on an archer or assassin. Oh, those are pretty fantastic. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take Wilder out of this one. You're going to be pretty much necessary. And you're going to go in here. Oh, I actually can deploy everyone in this one. Okay, I'm a little bit misinformed then. Okay. Yeah, Ultima bullets, exactly. Yeah, so Assassin is amazing. It's basically just really high speed and a bunch of really high damage abilities. Plus they get access to great bows, which are also really friggin' fantastic in their own right. And yeah, let's see. I think the only time that they actually take a nerf is when you go and you have them learn their Ultima shot thing, which requires them to use one of the worst bows in the game to actually learn. But other than that, they're absolutely amazing. Please tell me this music is coming through, by the way. Like, just the sheer happiness of this soundtrack is so friggin' beautiful. By the way, it's Yogurt the Goblin. Yeah, Ultima Bullet is the best. It's not actually called Ultima Bullet, you basically learn Ultima Sword as a knight, and then you go and you fire that out of a gun. It's ridiculous. Actually, most of the time what I ended up doing is just saving up points to do Ultima Shot, and then just use nothing but Stop Shot. Honestly, the elemental stuff doesn't even matter if everything on the map can't move. Ah, it's so good. So if you didn't know, like, the part of the shtick when it comes to... Hang on, sorry, a little bit confused here. Part of the shtick when it comes to the gunner abilities and stuff like that, both gunner abilities and fencer abilities they're basically a bunch of either elemental or effect-adding abilities that... Oh, right, he's an archer. Oh, that's fine. Just attack at point-blank range. So there are a bunch of cool abilities that essentially will go off of weapon range, and they don't require anything to actually use. So they don't have a limitation on what they can be used with, and they don't have any kind of issues with, like, MP cost, they don't have any issues with weapon types. They have a bunch of free effects, and it's amazing! Like, you can use Stop for free with a gunner, or you can use Poison on pretty much every hit with Swarm Strike with a Fencer. You know, all that kind of stuff. Game audio is pretty low? Okay, how's that? Hopefully should be able to hear it now. Let me know if that fixes it. Like right here. By the way, if for some reason the guy who did FFTAX is still doing modifications to his mod, these guys right here, you know, if he happens to see this, and if he, for whatever reason, is still doing that mod, the friggin' fairies are absolutely nightmarish in that thing. Like, this first fight is dang near impossible, because the fact that if you don't knock out the fairy before they can use the move that they get from the very beginning of the game, you're screwed. They will just absolutely nuke your entire squad, and that's it. For some reason, their, if I recall correctly, their meteor ability, whatever friggin' meteor thing they use, ends up going and doing an AoE and everything else. So it's pretty uncouth, let's say. Right. How's that for audio? Oh, sorry about the mouse cursor. That should be fixed now. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and whirlwind over here. As you can see, these guys have pretty freakishly high health. For all of the talk of, oh, it's a baby game, it does not mess around with difficulty. As you can see, we actually lost the leader right off the bat. In fact, I would say this is probably one of the more challenging GBA games. But you can actually completely break it. You can completely break it in half, and that moment is just the best. Like, once you get illusionists, oh man. Just the world is your oyster, really. So hopefully all audio and mouse issues should be resolved at this point. What's funny is illusionists are at least somewhat balanced in this one. Like, they hit everything in the map, they hit them really hard, but they're okay. Like, it takes 7 turns to be able to charge one up. So, you know, odds are you're gonna have a whole lot of other problems. Oh, crap. 14% miss? Okay. She might be able to pull this off, then. Because I need her to ideally poison the red guy. First of all, will this kill her? No. 8. I'll do 10. I'll do 12. We're doing really piss poor damage here. Well, anyway, just go ahead and do that. Hopefully she can poison the red guy. And then they can run off and get healed. Please hit, please poison. Dang. There's a reason I rely on fencers. Oh crap. That'd be something to lose this right off the bat. So fencers are very good at evading, if you can't tell. Also, they kind of meow when they get knocked down. Kind of funny. So now that those two are down, we're kinda just gonna have a little bit of a problem. Actually, I think I have revives, don't I? Yes, I do. You do get revives right off the bat. You don't have to train anybody to use them. Everyone can just use them immediately. Gonna go ahead and do that. Exactly, there's lightning bunnies. I probably should have picked up more of these. Oh well. Yeah, fencers rock pretty friggin' hard. Okay. Monk face is gonna go over here. Go ahead and do this, because they can't really counter it. 83% miss. Sure, I'll take it. Okay, so Fairy probably needs to go. It's got low health, and unfortunately it's smacking folks around. It's not very threatening yet. They don't get their actual scary abilities until much later for now. Yeah, we'll go ahead and finish that. Need to learn at least 900 JP to learn this. Exactly. You know? I mean, have you ever tried to use friggin' Tylenol to cure your headache or your sickness or whatever? Do you have any idea how difficult that is? Quite difficult. Oh, come on. He just one-shotted that guy. As in, he actually has like 40-something health and he punched a 52. It's kind of odd that they allowed such... well, such difficulty on the very first fight. What's funny is you can potentially go and do a couple grind fights before this, I think. I don't know if the Clan Wars are available yet. I recall being able to get some levels somehow. Now, this brings me up to another funny point, in which, yeah, so obviously, you know, you can see kneeling animations in this one. For some reason, in both the original TO, I can understand why it didn't have that. For the remake, I didn't really understand why they went for a flashing animation instead of like a kneeling kind of thing, because, you know, it looks much nicer. But then also, I really don't get why, what's it? What was the other one they did? There was some other one. Whatever, I forgot. Lost my train of thought. It happens. By any chance, can you finish off this one? Maybe 14, not really worth it. What about these two chumps? That. It's a fair bit easier the longer you play. Yeah, it definitely doesn't scale up as much as you'd think. So it gets way easier over time. How down is this guy? Not very. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move over here. We're just gonna do an air... Actually, no, you don't even need a heal, so we're just gonna go ahead and do an area heal over here. This game was also, if I'm not mistaken, the point at which they started implementing recharging MP. So, for example, all of your mages do not start with full MP or whatever else. I actually come to think of it, I think the SNES version of TO might have had that. But point being, for the FFT games anyway. So you can actually just keep recharging things, you can keep getting better, you don't have mages that stop being useful after their first few rounds. Are they weak to ice in this one? Maybe. I definitely should be testing that. Alright, please don't smack her down. Man, that soldier guy is slow as hell. Right there. There's another thing that the judge likes to do. So he'll immediately stop the fight. He'll end up moving some folks around. Because although there is permadeath in this one... That's fine. She already did her job. Do your duty. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't. Goodbye. But yeah, since... what was I again out here? Dang it! I forgot what the hell I was talking about. I was probably talking about something. Oh yeah, since even though there is permadeath, no one like bleeds out during the fight or anything. I thought you started with MP? You might. I think you start with some amount, and then it regens. But just point being, in FFT, you had that annoying problem where unless you had Chakra or something on a mage... Oh crap, there goes my healer. Because I didn't really have any turns to go heal them up. But yeah, unless you had Chakra or something on a mage, then they were pretty much just two-pump chumps, as it were. Okay, I think we're gonna need to bring that one back. Go ahead and do that. She's actually about as safe as she can be right there. But yeah, so the bodies get moved around by the guy and the chicken, as you do. You know, regular everyday stuff. Please miss this punch. Crap. Well, this is going great. First fight. Getting completely rocked left and right. Okay, he should, yeah, only be able to attack that guy. We'll probably have Mont Blanc go after those ones at the top. Soldier guy can finish off this one. Probably have the Fencer heal herself. Alright, let's test out this ice thing. Doesn't seem that way. These summons can't miss and only hit enemies, yeah. Yeah, it's weird that they start off with such a difficult fight. Now, you might be saying, hey, it's because you ruined your leader and you made him not a fighter and whatever else, and that's not exactly true. He's actually, honestly, better as an archer. Also, I wish they would stop hitting those 35%, because that also almost never happens. Rude. Rude. Alright, well, this is still possible, though. Here's why. Hopefully, nobody should be able to get to this guy. Hopefully. And if that's the case, he can basically just keep healing himself and dodging. Oh! Okay, near impossible dodge there. Good. Now, Mont Blanc, I basically already have written off in my head here. But that's fine. That's fine. Come on, survive. Darn, I thought he might potentially just run away here. Okay, so he's gonna go for a 16. This is fine. As long as he doesn't crit there, so yeah. Now here's how this is gonna go. You're gonna go over here. You're gonna kinda faint them down this way. This? No, actually, you're gonna want them going in this direction. Maybe not. No, right here. Right here is fine. Monty, yeah, he can self-target. But he doesn't really have any way to, like, heal himself or whatever else. And hopefully it'll be fine now. It just came back. It's not dropping on my end, so it's... I think it's on YouTube's end there. Alright, so here's the thing. He needs to hit this in order to be able to actually win. So 50% odds. Is he gonna do it? Yes, he did. Okay. There we go. It's back. Now he can run over here. So from here on out, that one guy will die to poison. Those other ones need about 2 to 3 hits each. And he should have enough healing items to basically just pump himself through the fight, just chugging those. There's a spot on the right where they can only attack him from one side at a time. And so that's where we're slowly going to maneuver to. Now, because of the fact that they want to attack him from the side, they should be moving down the left there. So they should all get stuck on that tree, which should mess up their movement for next round. You saw teleporting? Not exactly. The judge actually moves them around. We're going to go here. You're going to use an item. It's going to do 25. So that'll be enough to pull him back from only one hit, unfortunately. By the time the red guy reaches him, he should hopefully be already dead. Yeah, that guy, Mr. Norn here, he's got one left on him. All things being ideal, again, they should just continue sweeping on the left. They should get stuck behind the red guy, and that should allow him to escape towards the right. That's the plan, anyway. Oh, well, that guy's gonna ruin it. Fine. What a shame. So now we're gonna go this way. Actually, no, we're not gonna go anywhere. So that's gonna heal him for only a tiny amount. It's fine. Judge interfering, that's cheating. Well, not exactly. He's got to move all the bodies around, you know? That way you can't essentially make yourself a barricade. Kind of messed up if you think about it. Hopefully he's fine right here. They'll probably try to cut him off on the right, but we'll see. In theory, he should be able to win this. Especially if he manages to dodge one and then do like a cut and run kind of thing. It's a kid's game. There's bodies everywhere. Alright. First things first, he doesn't... By the way, he doesn't have any kind of counter ability. I won't have that for a while. It's actually from Thieves in this one. Gotta be a thief with a brigandine to learn counter. Now we're gonna go here. What's funny is that later on the judge actually will interfere in a way that could be considered cheating. Perfect. There we go. We got a miss. Now, does this guy want to miss too by chance? Because yeah, later on there's actually just a whole thing where they're actively trying to beat you because they can't win on a direct fight. They keep going and adding more and more laws. Like, okay, we'll just screw with them. You know, we'll figure it out. Oh hell no! Get your critical nonsense. Why does he get a double turn? Excuse me. These guys are slow as hell. Why is he getting a double turn right now? Yeah, I'm calling BS on that one. It's a critical and then a double turn, please. Alright. Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead and load that save again. And that's why you save on that first fight. Because that's when you realize that, oh man, they really kind of screwed the pooch on the difficulty on that first one. Doesn't even take any mods to be difficult. Alright, there we go, let's load that up. In case you're wondering, what I was saying earlier is actually incorrect. You don't have any random fights before this. So you can only go in and directly fight it. And bear in mind, this is all for the sake of somebody making some frickin' soup or some crap. Fun times, fun times. Okay. Alright, now we're gonna do this right this time, and that I'm not gonna friggin' forget what class Mr. Ramza is here. Okay. Do this thing. See, because that was the screwed up part. I was going and I was expecting him to be a frontliner. He is absolutely a backliner. Needs to be just doing focus shots over and over and over. So, as per usual, the strategy here should be Fairy first, then poison the red guy, then just kind of fight everyone else normally, because they have a stupid amount of health for this point. Like, you are basically outnumbered, plus they have double your health. You know? Like, what is that even? We're gonna go this way. We're gonna sort of form up a line here. I said the monsters in the wild to obey laws. Oh, right! Right. Good point. I could technically just go and move the map over and over and over until it just becomes illegal to directly attack or something. See, what's the laws for today? No protect, but poison is rewarded. Oh yeah, so you're basically there's one law that you're rewarded for, one that you're not rewarded for, and they steal your crap for. But yeah, it's pretty funny though. You know what? If this happens again, I absolutely will do that just because it's hilarious. Sure would be a shame if you guys decided you can't attack because it's illegal to do so. Okay. So here's what he should have been doing. Fire and move backwards a tile. You might expect only FFT vets to play this. It's possible. Honestly, it's very strange how they balance this. Also, one thing that's kind of funny is despite the fact that it's a starting class, Montblanc actually really sucks as a caster. Like, Moogle casters in general aren't very good, and he especially is just kind of sucky. It's odd. Really think the laws should be on screen at all times. They actually did that in FFTA 2, because they had the extra screen to do that. You gotta go and check in this one, and that's kind of what annoyed people, because you gotta go and make sure before every complicated move. Does this technically break a law? Do I have a permit to go fire an arrow at that guy? It gets complicated. But yeah, no, this is easily one of my favorites. Such a fun game. I think there's a button or something to show them. There is. It's, you just basically go to the menu and it's right there. Now, it does get complicated later on where you have essentially a cycle of 3 different laws going on. So you may have 3 completely contradictory things going right next to each other. I believe some of the mods actually randomize those. But, for example, you know, you may have a thing where it's like, okay, no magic whatsoever that has a color assigned to it. No, anyone have missing health, by the way? Like, nothing that can have a color assigned to it, no direct attack, no items. Like, well, what the hell do I do then? But no, you just kind of don't do dumb stuff. That's how. Right here, this is how it's done. Okay, I was double-checking that he didn't have a combo, so you just basically take unlikely hits over and over until you eventually get this one. You kind of just set up a line. It's almost like they were kind of in a very Tactics Ogre mood for this one. God, that coffee's good. Nice thing is, he can essentially just combo shot anything from far away. This does just regular damage, by the way. It just looks cool. Shot him 3 times. Regular damage. It's mostly just because when they actually do their combo, they switch between those 3 positions. Like, you know, one guy would fly in with a sword, another guy would pop in with a gun, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Okay. You are gonna Swarm Strike like everybody's life depends on it, because it actually does. Anti-Paladin law. No, you can... No, No Holy is, you can still use items with No Holy. It's very specific about its laws, and actually, people were saying in FFTA 2 it got a little bit too specific. Like in that one, there was one where there's just no reaction abilities. You don't know that going into the fight, but that basically means if anyone gets hit, you automatically lose your bonus, because they are not allowed to respond. 12... And yeah, I'll just go ahead and do these ones. And hopefully the white mage will be able to act pretty soon here. Nice thing is, at least archers don't have any kind of dead zone in this one, because it would have made it dang near impossible to do. Yep, there we go. Go ahead and pull off one of those. Yeah, the paladins in this one are generally more of a guard sort of class anyway. So while they do have, like, Saint Cross, which is pretty much just an AoE, like, holy slashing type thing, most of their abilities are stuff like taking a hit for somebody else, or just blocking all damage for them, or giving a whole bunch of debuffs, or I think one of them is just like a slowdown hit or something like that. You usually have enough abilities flying around that you're able to kind of MacGyver some kind of solution together. But still. So when they did this in FFTA 2, it was just a set law for each particular fight, and basically what that boiled down to was just a system where you pretty much just had a challenge assigned to each one. They're like, okay, you can get like bonus XP or JP or any of that really, just as long as you follow this law. And then if you do, great. If you don't, whatever. You just don't get that bonus. So, you know, you're perfectly fine just completely ignoring it for that one. Holy Blade is cool. That it is. I'm not sure why they look Middle Eastern in this one. I mean, I guess it makes sense, because technically... Actually, no, it doesn't. Because, you know, granted, they would have been associated with that whole thing, but paladins in general were actually more of a Byzantine thing. So if you don't know the history behind that, as far as the word paladin goes, it was originally Palatines. which were essentially just the head knights for Constantine. And so, you know, they had their whole big round table and everything else. Apparently that's partially where that whole myth comes from. But yeah, so he just had these knights, called them paladins, or palatines, whatever. Probably at least some thing as far as why Palpatine has that name. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. It's actually more way over there, if anything. What's the starting time in this one again? Is it Kadoan or Sprom? I'm not sure. They would have shared a lot of the same town names and almost none of the same layout. We'll take a look in just a sec. This guy needs some healing. That guy does not. There we go. See, this is perfectly manageable. In many ways, I guess it's a harsh but interesting intro. Because it teaches you to essentially use what tools you have available right off the bat. And you still have some, I guess, maneuverability as far as changing different stuff around. It's just this red guy, I guess. Maybe he's just meant to really teach you that, okay, we're gonna have one strong guy shoved in there every now and then. You know. Control that guy. You learn to deal with numbers, you learn to deal with controlling one guy, and you learn to deal with just new abilities in general. Still feels like it maybe could have been a little bit nicer, but whatever. Miss. Based in Dalmasca. Maybe it is. No, I think Dalmasca is one of the later times. Isn't that the capital? I don't know. Also, wow, this guy started off with frickin' 100 this time? Are you kidding me right now? I didn't accidentally load in FFTAX, did I? I'm pretty sure I didn't. This is just harsh. They're Seek Inspired? Yes, true, they are Seek Inspired. Actually, yeah, then it makes a lot more sense. They've got the whole Seek Turban thing, they've got the whole, you know, protect everyone thing going on. Actually, it's weird because it's something that ended up getting them a pretty raw deal a while ago. So when people were freaking out and going nuts about, oh my god, all brown people are gonna murder people, and all that kind of crap, which is still going on, granted, but still, when there was a whole fever pitch of that a little while ago. So Sikh travelers, like people that are super into their religion, basically, they will have essentially their whole outfit involves a turban, which is supposed to be like, you know, collecting all the knowledge of the world or whatever else. And then they're also supposed to be, they're supposed to carry around essentially like a long dagger of sorts. And it's supposed to symbolize, you know, protecting the weak and all that sort of thing. And so, like, originally it was like a short sword kind of thing, and then they're like, okay, no, you can't travel with that, it needs to be smaller. So they bring it down to the size of a knife, and they're like, no, oh no, it's a bladed thing with somebody that came from the Middle East, oh my god, it's the end of the world. So they basically just started carrying around, like, a necklace with a handle on it. Like, it was, it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a downer reading about that. They're like, okay, you've got this whole pretty good message here. And then the response to that is, no, you can carry around a handle. It's like, this would have been so respected at one point. And now people are looking down on it because apparently, you know, a friggin' pocket knife or whatever is scarier than people running around with machine guns, apparently. So, there's that. Jeez, all that stuff is disturbingly political at this point. To the point that I probably shouldn't even mention it before people start getting pissed off, but hey. It happens. It happens. Point being, they got a raw deal. That's what I'm trying to say. Brother looked like Tuxedo Mask when he was younger. Okay. He just went everywhere in a tuxedo. Had a bunch of schoolgirls following him around. It must have been an interesting summer. Go after these. I really like that they start you off with Swarm Strike as one of the things you can use, though. Essentially, it allows this to be way more manageable. As to how you're supposed to do this with the main party, I'm not sure. Or with the default party, I should say. Because the monk is super weak. You know, obviously you've got your healer here, they're alright. But, yeah, essentially having two frontliners and an archer surprisingly doesn't leave you with that much damage against these guys. Oh well. Let's see. I had to type that 4 ways because it kept deleting it. I don't know why it keeps doing that. That doesn't make any sense. This healer over here just dodging everything. Alright, you go for Whirlwind. Maybe this is why they started you off with this one. Because these guys give a lot of openings for Whirlwind. Just kind of ends up looking like a Monster Hunter boss fight or some crap. What happened? They pushed that thing 80,000 times and then it died. Energy into next attack. Funnily enough, it's not actually worth it to spend every turn doing that. Like, it boosts it by about how much you would end up just spending for that turn, but it's not actually worth going and repeatedly using focus over and over and over and over and over. Alright, you need to go for the checkmate here, come on. You can poison this guy, this fight's done. There we go. Done deal. Alrighty. Good. That should definitely be the fight done, because he's just going to keep taking hits till he's down. He's the one with the really high defense and higher level. Accumulate to strong. It doesn't work as well as accumulate, unfortunately. It's just a mild bonus, and then you keep it until your next turn. You can... Essentially, it's there if you don't have a shot. You know, you can just go and use it again. I was really hoping that healer would have a chance, but unfortunately they did not move. Oh well. They've got almost 2 down. They're currently winning in terms of just general numbers, but I guess one of the things I really liked about FFTA and FFTA 2 is just the fact that you could kind of continue on the fights. You don't really have to worry about picking people up off the ground. Actually, that's one of the things I really liked that he ended up changing in One Vision for Tactics Ogre there. Which, again, seems weird because it's not directly one of the features, but he basically added a feature where if somebody's down, instead of going and reviving them over and over and over and over and over, you just had a thing for, like, you just go and use that same item to just evacuate them out of the fight, and that's it. You're just done. They're out of the fight. You can't revive them anyway. Good. Done deal. That's perfectly fine. Nobody likes sandbagging. Oh, why are these guys so freaking strong? Seriously, why would anybody hire this group? They suck. This is clearly their first day on the job. Okay, the only one left to worry about is this one. The friggin' mosquito over there can't do any damage. Oh, he's gonna get a little bit of experience. In fact, why don't you do absolutely nothing? Never mind. Alright. Nice, that potentially might finish them, but at that point you really might as well just go for this and almost guarantee it. Don't exactly want to chance a low roll, I'd rather chance a hit and poison Brock. You go here. Check it out. Look who remembered that he actually can have a turn eventually. I had this really fun moment yesterday. So we're doing that FFT community run, and yeah, finally decided to just do one of those ridiculously long grinds to completely max somebody out, because I suddenly had a whole bunch of ideas I really wanted to try out. Like, for example, turning Mustadio into a gun knight. Yeah, I'm finished watching up the video about getting Excalibur and FFT in Chapter 2, something to do with getting Garen really high. Oh, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. So odds are you'd probably need to grind him up really high, and then get his equipment taken away. And then when he comes back at that super high level, and then probably has it on him. Or, Yeah, because let's see. Well, no. In the original, at least... Yeah, in the original, no, he doesn't get his equipment back. So if he... I would assume... What was this, War of the Lions or the original? Okay, these guys and their 35% are starting to piss me off. Because what's the point of high evasion classes if they never evade? I mean, fight's done anyway. Revive this one. Just kind of make everybody super survivable, let the poisoned ones fall to the ground. But yeah, I know in the original, if you ended up robbing Gifgarion of all his stuff, he never got it back, but it's possible in War of the Lions they changed that. So that might potentially explain it. That's where he's gonna go. He's gonna have pretty decent odds here, unfortunately. Yep. I should have bought more Phoenix Towns. Alright. That guy, not worth it. That guy... Alright, we're basically between a rock and a hard place here. I guarantee you one of his first things will be to take that guy that's on the ground that I'm trying to revive and move him to somewhere I absolutely cannot reach him. I know the interrupt's coming. I know it's coming. These guys just have to survive a few more turns. They're currently blocked in, so they can easily survive this. Would be nice to have them in alternate positions, but... Oh, right. She's still around. I guess at this point it would have been nice to get Feather Blow. So Feather Blow is the 100% hit chance one, but you end up taking... or you end up giving half damage. So almost... Weird. He actually barricaded me in. That's bizarre. He usually just shoves units way out of the way. Huh. Alright, we'll go for it. Fail. Ooh. I think they might have potentially fixed that X Division run. Okay. Go on Montblanc back. Sure would be nifty. I don't think he'll be able to do much. But if you could get a nice little AoE over there, that'd be pretty darn nice. Whoa. He sounds like an old boot-up noise. Real MVP of the game is corpses. Oh, jeez. Like I said, this game gets pretty dark, you know? Yeah, the judge is extremely biased. To be fair, I mean, we do kind of have friends with the judges in this one. So if you don't know, later on it turns out that, what's it? Friggin' one of the kids' dads is basically the head judge. So that's kind of why he has all this pull with all the judges and everything else, whereas the crippled one is just kind of running everything and hiding in a friggin' bowl the entire time. Yeah, Mute is horrible. What's weird is despite the fact that the characters are written in a way that makes you hate them, they make so much sense as being, you know, just douchey kids that want to essentially just live out whatever fantasies they had. And it makes sense. Honestly, they're right. If you lived in a thing like this, like, okay, the whole laws changing every day thing, annoying as hell. But if essentially you could do whatever you wanted, like literally anything with almost no limits was possible, you pretty much could go out and do whatever and not even have to worry about dying or whatever. You don't have to worry about aging. Usually you don't have to worry about politics. Just, yeah. Exactly, you break the world just to spite Mute. That's the plot of this game in a nutshell. Alright, I want to go for that, but no, he has to use an item. So Fencer is going to go ahead and die. There's really nothing I can do about that, but she might get one more shot at that fairy over there. Marsh for Supreme Leader. Yeah, no. Come to think of it, it's weird that they don't tell you what happened to Marsh. Like, the only one you find out is Mr. Randall, so Mute. So he becomes a friggin' librarian, but... what happened to everybody else? You see Ritz's kid. So I was just kind of assumed, like, Marsh and Ritz got it on afterwards, because, you know, they went through all that stuff, and they're like, liking the look of all that reveal and armor there, you know? I just kind of assumed that's what happened, because you see a kid that's clearly supposed to be hers in the sequel. Alright, he's down. Judges appear during risky repair work. Alright, she's down, but yeah. All that has to happen now is Marsh has to be able to hit a 40%. They've hit, what, like 6 35s with no problem? Yet he can't hit a single 40. I have a feeling the RNG is biased. This is messed up. Like, this really has to fall into the category of war crimes right here, because look at this. They're all just passing out everywhere. Ritz new waifu, also type of cracker. Yeah, you know what? Look at the, even the official art for this thing, and tell me that they're not supposed to be a couple. Okay, they also meow. Because of course fairies meow, why wouldn't they? And there we go, GG. That guy's just gonna wander around for a while. Nice knowing you, a-hole. What a friggin' intro. Look at this carnage. It doesn't matter. Fight's done anyway, you just robbed me of like 10 XP, that's it. Wife tag and post. Oh, this is so true. Post from my wife here. It said in the wedding vows they should add, "Do you promise to help him find stuff that is right in front of him? Because he'll be doing that forever." It's so true. I freaking miss stuff in front of me all the time. Yeah, finally a who it's all of them that actually makes sense. Holy crap. I got the mods for this game. Yeah, the best balance that I've seen is FFTAX, but even that one pretty much falls apart by endgame. It's got a lot of cool stuff. They actually ended up one of the things I really appreciated is the blue mages actually became red mages, and the blue mages are actual blue. You may wonder what I'm talking about. The colors on this one are confusing because when you get a red mage, they're wearing blue. When you get a blue mage, they're wearing red. He swapped those around. So yeah, they came here to pick friggin' herbs and apparently got into a bizarre goblin war. We got 40 AP. Go ahead and shove all the mountains way up here. It's the north. Now, what's funny is that whole stuff shaking and getting treasure out of it, that happens if you put them right next to each other. So the idea is, like, for example, if you have 2 towns and you put another one right here, then you got a whole bunch of stuff that you could go loot. But it's not really anything too fantastic. Anyway. Go over here. First off, actually no, let's friggin' save this crap. Oh my goodness. That was redonkulous. Funny part is, all the rest of the stuff will be easier. Let's see, red card using for nail using rust. Only hammers allowed in repairing this home. Pretty much. Okay, latest rumors. Unfair laws! And yeah, you gotta read all of this stuff in order to get access to everything. Unfortunately. A bunch of people were wondering about a bunch of side content and everything else. Yeah, no, you gotta read all the stuff. Yeah, I know it's an annoying system, just go with it. It's supposed to be immersive or something. Actually, the best way that I saw it handled is in the Tactics Ogre remake. Just because you can just go and, like, hold R and skip through all the news. Like, if you've read it several times, you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so Dueling Sub, this is basically you send somebody out to go on a fight. I think Soldier Guy can handle that. Thesis Hunt is a... let's see. This is the one... yeah, this is the one where you take the kids over. They aren't... I'll take all of them. This one's pretty good. Typically that's the one I start with. Thesis Hunt is a little bit more difficult. Yeah, Fire. You just have to go fight this thing, but you do get a Sprinkler, so that makes fire weaker in the future. Cool how that happens. 4 items that are looted from treasure hunts based on location and placement. Yep. It's actually a little bit like March of the Black Queen in that way. You've just got random items that you can sort of get. Let's see. Nothing here, but Lutia should have no Lutia. Let's go ahead and do that one. That's the one where you basically let some kids play, and it's great, and it's fun, and it's good. Let's go play with some childrens. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cow saying, "Take my children out to play. Bring weapons." This music eventually gave me freaking nightmares as a kid because it's just associated with this. Now, I'm probably going to have that guy train as a monk for a few things, but I eventually want him to be a defender. Random if you don't know about it. Yeah, probably. Honestly, I consider a lot of things random because I'm really bad at remembering specifics. So as before, we're going to go ahead and set up a defensive line. Normally, running out will just get you swarmed in almost every single freaking map. Such is life. There we go, good miss. You just let them come to you one at a time, and then it's not much of a problem. Well, until they start overwhelming you, then you do have a problem. Now, what's fun is actually seeing how many sprites end up getting recycled over the course of Matsuno's entire career. It's like this one ends up reusing a bunch of stuff from the SNES Tactics Ogre, which then ends up reusing them later in FFT, which ends up reusing them in the Tactics Ogre remake, which then ends up reusing them in FFTA 2. Just, they all share a bunch of slight variations on pretty much the exact same friggin' thing. It's pretty great. Well, I mean, I guess you have to assume at some point they must have had a thing where it's like, okay, the kids want to go play in the woods, honey, go get your shotgun and kill the wolves. Like, you know that was a conversation at some point. It's like out in the frontier days or whatever else. Now, one of the reasons that I like having the archer right here, why I like having Ramza as an archer, is just because on account of him being the protagonist, he tends to get pretty overpowered. Thankfully in this one, he's actually pretty weak early on. Now, I say thankfully because, quite frankly, it's kind of an annoying thing with Matsuno things. They're like, hey, check it out, he's this kid that came from nowhere, doesn't know anything. Kid don't know nothing, and then they're like, okay, that kid somehow seems to be winning an arm wrestling contest with The Rock, so how does that work? So yeah. No, usual kind of questions. But yeah, as far as those rare items based on city placement, I take it you might know where those are and might be willing to share that information, Mr. OGG. Is that meant to be, like, OGG? Like, you get booted out of game? Oh, crap, I forgot to... Oh, crap. Forgot about that. I forgot to buy more Phoenix Downs. We're boned. Yeah, it's 3 wolves and a goblin, and I guarantee you we're screwed. Dang it. Dang it. Why do I not remember stuff so good? Where did they all get their matching friggin' necklaces? The real questions. Actually, one thing that's a little bit funny here. Comparing this with the Lucht remake. Like in this one you get white mages and they're like, oh, you know, just another class, you know, do what you will. Actually, come to think of it, just the 2 wolves, isn't it? Yeah, I think 3 wolves was an FFTAX. Okay, good to know. Good to know. In that case, this is very possible still. But okay, so what was I saying here? Oh yeah, so like in this one, they're like, oh, you know, it's another class. You absolutely need them, though. A bunch of the best classes require white mage abilities. A bunch of the, basically a bunch of the early fights are nigh impossible without a healer, all that sort of thing. Then you go over to the Lucht remake. They're like, oh, you know, we have all these, no, what's it? Oh, we've got these healers over here. They're the greatest thing ever. Every party should have one. Like, it literally is the only class with a description that says every party needs one. They are hands down the most worthless class in the entire game. Like, at first it seems like an area heal, you know, that's a pretty good thing right there. You can literally make anyone use the area heal. It does not have to be them. It's kind of an odd oversight, really. One thing that One Vision ended up fixing very strongly, but Yeah, like, they don't scale, they don't really do anything impressive. They just kind of essentially do a bunch of stuff that items can do better. Very strange at all. It doesn't you link the URLs for location setups? Dang it. Why is it not letting you do that? I pretty much have no filters set on this thing whatsoever. Somebody should be able to go on a... Let's see. Do not block... Okay. Never mind, it turned one of them on, so... Done. Okay, try it now. It might be viewing some of this random stuff as spam. Hopefully that fixes it. Let me know. By the way, Mr. Cow, try typing a bunch of random crap. Maybe now it won't actually get blocked. Maybe that was the setting. 35%, you're gonna definitely hit this. Oh wow! They missed a 35%. Ah, who'd have thunk it? They're actually capable of missing. Actually, one of my favorite classes is unfortunately not available in this one, which is kind of the main reason to have somebody train as a monk, and that's the Gambler from FFTA 2. It's this guy that... It's like a lizard in a sharp suit, or not even a sharp suit. It looks like a complete douchebag. So he shows up in like a white suit and everything, attacks with playing cards and all that sort of thing, and pretty much just goes around doing all kinds of debuffs. Pretty great. Do you have a Discord or something? I'm on this RPG one. Let's see. I can just send you a link to the SRPG one. You guys should try joining it anyway. It's a bunch of good stuff on there. Invite people. Actually, Mr. Cow, I'm just going to send you an invite directly. Mr. OGG. There you go. Yep. Oops. Okay, that should show up properly now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm over there. It's a nice little Reddit. Nice little, it's like 2,000 people now. But yes, actually what's funny is then comparing the AC, like, Reddit. Dang it. Yeah, it's, okay, they're the same one. I'm just getting confused over nothing here. But yeah, they're basically the same one. And a proc? Yes. She's getting very lucky with those procs. And then we should only need one more. Gee, it did one. How useful. Got stepped on. Oh, hello, phone alarm. Please go away. Yo, let's have Mr. Monkface run over here, punch him in the nads. Get your nads punched. Bam. Clawed in the rectum. Fantastic. What's funny is despite him being the most underwhelming character, he is currently kind of dominating. Things should be safe now. It's time we brought these kids back home. So yeah, they let them play this entire time. This fight was going on while those kids were playing and completely unattended because the attendees were being attacked by friggin' wolves. Amazing, amazing. So that is the first extra ability that this one can get. So if we go over here... How the hell do I... where is the thingy that I can find out? There we go. So it's just the R trigger. So they're 80% of the way to one of those. Now... Oh yeah, so Cyril, that's the town that you start in. Although it doesn't say that he's actually from there, if you're still here, Mr. Cow. So it doesn't say he's from there, you just kind of run into him there. So, I think Cadone is later, so we got Sprome here. That place, that place. I think, yeah, I think Fire is the way to go here. In fact... Yes. First off, we're saving this in case I screw it up. But we're gonna make fire illegal. I love this game so much. Okay. Over here. One, two. AO depends on what you're using it on. Personally, my favorite one is actually is a Android emulator called MyBoy. Oh, that was you? Wait, what? Ah, lame, it expired. Okay, hang on, go to pub. Lame. Okay, we're gonna load that up, I don't want it to expire. Actually, wait, it's already expired. Whatever. So much for that fee. In that case, we missed one of the early ones. Alright. So these are a little bit hard to get. If I recall, this is 2 fighters and an alchemist. Ooh, but it's a thunder rod, yeah. Don't have any mission items. I think one of the reasons that they made so many of these fights so difficult as they were, that was simply because of the fact that you could potentially manipulate so much stuff. Okay, so he's the one over here. No, this is a different fight. The fight I'm thinking of was in a town. Or was it? It depends on if this one's at night or not. Let's see. Oh yeah, so yeah, if you're an Android, would recommend MyBoy for, there's a whole bunch of them. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of. There's a whole bunch of them on PC. The one that I would definitely say not to use, don't use No Cache. It's the one that I'm using. It sucks, and it sucks bad. It's just kind of the only one that ends up working nicely with OBS. So that's the only reason I'm using it. Because the thing is an absolute dumpster fire of an actual device. There's that. Okay. Saw everyone coming with this third eye. There's like some crazy Russian psychic dog. Okay, I'll take a look at those messages in just a sec. Oh, crap. Well, ended up just hearing that the XDiv run might actually be dead. Jeez. Not something anyone ever wants to hear. Actually, I'm seeing these cliffs right here, and I keep thinking that the old TO twitch of breaking out a shield and shoving somebody off the map. But, unfortunately, that doesn't work in this one. There are already 3s. That's not good. The biggest threat is going to be the gladiator over there. So, basically what we're going to try to do here, hopefully this guy doesn't go very far. It's Askel. To explain why I find that funny is going to be a hard one to explain. Unfortunately, he's going to be pretty overpowered, because not supposed to really be fighting Dragoons yet. Because friggin' spears are really strong in this game. Another reason I like it. Alright, first off, you heal, but what I need is essentially to keep him blocked off over there. So this rock is very helpful. We can essentially keep everyone with only one facing. This should allow Montblanc and Ramza to go deal with the Gladiator on the right. And then hopefully all anyone has to really deal with is this, well, is the Archer. A Dragoon we can just deal with over time. He doesn't have a whole lot of health. You know, silver linings. You know what? Better yet, I might just... Yeah, I'm just gonna have him attack this one instead. Because the sooner he's gone, the better. I'm assuming he's probably going to use Rush or Beatdown. Nice thing is, technically only the leader has to be beaten for this fight. Alright, let's take a look at this guy. What does he have? He's got a Sweep. I believe that's a Beatdown. He's got Wild Swing and he's got Rush. Front, back, side, so that's your AoE. And that's the one that never hits. Okay. Good to know. Knock him just a little. You finish him, please. The thief I'm not really too worried about. He might be able to steal a couple bucks, but he shouldn't be threatening until later. Yes! Okay, so he's finished. Okay, this guy doesn't have a counter yet. That's usually around the point where they start getting scary, where they have a bunch of really fancy knives and they start countering, and it's not great. It's not great. Because they almost always come in with friggin' brigandines, and... I mean, I guess plus side you can take them. Oh, as I was saying before, silver linings. There's a lot of very sudden 1-2 losses in this one. I don't know why all the human portraits in this one look really bizarre to me. It's kind of funny because each one really only identifiably has one gender, but they still try to make them so you could kind of sort of see either if you squint. Never mind, he's got one more turn in him, but that's fine. Whatever. That's fine. Yeah, I kind of want him to be a Dragoon or Defender. Freaking Dragoons are strong. Well, I should say the Spears are strong. Their actual abilities aren't very good because it's just a bunch of breath abilities. Gotta remember to get more downs. Don't have any Phoenix downs. Alright. Guys, the next big threat, and then after that, there's pretty much nothing. So, Alchemists, they show up a lot of the time. Oh, he's even got Last Berserk, interestingly enough. But so, Alchemists, they show up all over the place. Funnily enough, their actual weapons are more worrisome than any abilities that they come in with most of the time. Actually, for all of the difficulty in setting them up, they kind of suck as a class. They just have really good stat gains. Alright, you're gonna go here, try to get the XP for finishing off this guy. Go for it. Good job, Frenchie. So, a funny thing I should mention, just on all the Matsuno stuff in general, is you can tell, kind of hopping between all of these, he had a conundrum. Like, the guy is constantly trying to figure out how to balance, you know, being able to go and grind out really whatever the hell you want, and take that and essentially balance it against actually having some difficulty around. And it's kind of weird that he sort of figured it out with FFT, just in a not quite extreme manner. But if there was like an ever-escalating difficulty in the background, how do I even put this? He tried to put this into TO. Like, for example, you could go into a bunch of fights, you know, you could have somebody grind and grind and grind, but it took forever. But you got points at the end of fights, but you didn't necessarily want to go and have a bunch of fights, because you would then have your characters get over-leveled, at which point you would hit the 30 wall, at which point everybody would start scaling up, and there was just no escape from the difficulty at that point. And, he tried to do it there, but if, you know, honestly, if it ended up being way lower, like, say, instead of being all the way up at 30, it was maybe 20 or something that everything started scaling, that would have been pretty much ideal right there. But FFT had the best system where every time you went into a fight, everybody else went up by a tiny bit. And they just kept going up and up and up and up and up and up and up, like in little tiny increments. Until eventually you got to the point of like, okay, I got all these levels, I'm gonna go power through this thing. Like, wait, why can't I do that? Well, because everyone else was also grinding in the background. It was a good way of doing it, but if they took that to another extreme and just made it to the point where if you tried to grind, you ended up, you know, going and losing resources, or maybe you had to constantly go with, like, a flow of resources. Like, if somebody took the whole thing from March of the Black Queen or whatever, just like the early Ogre Battle things, and applied it to something like this, you know, or applied it to something like TO or something, where, you know, you would lose access to entire towns or whatever else because you were off grinding and somebody went and took over that town, you know, or, you know, say you needed some certain amount of money to keep a town operating and you couldn't do that because, you know, you were over power leveling your army or whatever else. It just, I don't know, I feel like something like that, if somebody made something like that, it would be absolutely incredible. But they always want to focus on the whole, you know, you grind your dudes to ridiculousness thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo. I just think that would have been really fun. Because that's the thing, like, TO is easily one of my favorite things ever. And that bugs me every single time. Like, why, oh why is nobody else improving in the background? And like, why does it take so long to respond, and then once the response finally comes, it's way too late? Like, to give you a sense of context, usually you end up finishing a game around mid-20s, like 25-ish. Like, even if you went out of your way, did a bunch of extra bonus stuff, like recently I was finishing off my my Iron Man run of that thing, and I went and I did a good chunk of the extra optional stuff off in the background and all that. And yeah, sure enough, it was, you know, it was 25. Everyone was about 25 to 27. So in order to actually get to 30, in order for that, you know, level 30 wall, as I like to call it, to happen, essentially somebody has to have gone so severely out of their way that they've completely broken everything. So, I don't know, it was a strange decision. And I only bring that up because in many ways that was kind of his most recent project. I guess technically his most recent thing would have arguably been Unsung Story, or another one that I only recently heard about, which was Crimson Shroud. But I haven't actually tried that one out yet. It looked really cool though. It's, strangely enough, instead of being an SRPG, it's actually like a D&D-like, of all things. Like, it's on the DS, you like physically throw the dice and everything. I was actually hoping to pick that up if I could find it. There was that. Actually, still haven't looked for it. Crimson Shroud is awesome. Yeah, I haven't... Good to hear a recommendation. It's, well, pretty short. Darn. I heard it was really replayable, though. Like, how much randomness does it have? Like, is it actually replayable? Is it... I know you can change the different interactions and everything else. Just visually, it reminded me of a Vagrant Story. Is that pretty accurate? You think? Alright, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out, because I think it was like $8 or something. You literally throw dice? Yeah, true, true. I just mean, like, is there any variance to your characters or any of that? Aesthetic similar to Vagrant Story? Sounds like a winner to me. It's actually funny, because I made a bet with myself. As long as I was able to essentially, well, get a few projects of mine going yesterday, that I'd allow myself to go get it. It was kind of a personal treat kind of thing. And I finally did, and then was just like staring at it like, but that's $8. Now, what am I gonna enjoy more? $8 for this thing? Yes, I'm a cheap bastard. Bite me. You can do New Game Plus and whatnot. Can you do, like, just New Game Challenge runs without the New Game Plus or any of that? Like, does it seem the sort of thing that would be pretty good for replayability? I just want to point out, by the way, the rest of these guys, according to in-game lore, they don't have a judge, so these guys are actually legit dead. So this child went off and changed the entire world and then murdered some dudes. It's been an interesting weekend for him. And this came right on time, and this is why you get all of these specific abilities right here. You do a thing, you know, everyone got all of these new abilities. Now, you can use that money to essentially go buy more abilities for them to wear, and essentially can put that stick immediately on Mont Blanc. There we go. I always get the wrong, but dang it, I don't... I mean, I guess technically I could, huh? I thought it was a 3DS thing, wasn't it? Or is it regular DS? Let's see, 2013... Yeah, I mean, the 3DS was a thing, wasn't it? This is the little baby 3DS? I don't know. Alright, so he gets a stick now. He also gets this, I think. Do that. A stick on you. I will say this menu right here, where you end up dropping all the way to the bottom, that does get very annoying. That's one thing that was very heavily improved in the remake. Not the remake, in the sequel. Is there new crap? No, there's not new crap, unfortunately, no. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the Barong as well. Really might as well just keep one of every weapon around at all times. Right, this doesn't really do much aside from boost attack, which is funny because they brought this along with the exact same sprite. They brought that over to the Tactics Ogre and then just proceeded to do nothing with it. I mean, it's just one of the most basic items you can get. And, like, literally, it's just, you get slightly more defense now. Alright, I'm gonna sell one of these back. Actually, no. Where are bandages? Don't really plan to use bandages much, because I can usually just wait those out. Where's the floret? Don't want the floret. Alright, it is time for that lady to become an archer or something, I think. Blackout. Probably Blackout. It's definitely one of the more useful abilities. Right, you. So, actually I'm gonna leave him as an archer. You are gonna go ahead and get this. Wear this hat. There you go. You're upgraded. You are gonna get this. You're gonna get your helmet. Right. Unfortunately, you can very rarely actually tell what something's doing. You just kind of hope that it improves, you know? Bummer. Right, we actually need to pick up some new knuckles for him. You can go ahead and equip this. For that... You probably could use an improvement, though. Actually, no, you're going to become an archer. Because unfortunately, in order to get those other jobs, we're going to need to... The Elementalist is White Mage. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to be another healer. Except you're going to have the ability to poison people with a stick. As you do. So, functionally speaking, she's not actually getting downgraded very much. But she is going to train as a different thing. For a little while, anyway. Now, we're going to go sell a couple things. Go and buy some other knuckles, I think. Are there more knuckles? Yes. Exercise. What's the barong do? Arm break, this does speed break. No, better plan. Better plan. Since this game's all about cross-classing, you are gonna go ahead and become one of these. Then, equipment-wise, Mr. Frenchy Von Frenchface over here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop on one of them dealies. Where's the barong? There you go. Funnily enough, this actually came back as the, I want to say the Balder Blade in NTO. Go, now let's give you the silver one. Actually, no, let's give you this one, because you just need to learn as many abilities as possible. You are going to suck for a while. Ignore that. Don't worry about it. I can't... I don't know why I can't exactly find out why he can't wear that. He should be able to. Oh well. Aquarius. Raw deal. Seriously, why can't he wear it? Am I missing something? Still can't wear it? He can, for some reason. As can he. Oh. Maybe it's only sucky attack power classes that can use the gauntlets? Could be. Go to the pube. No rumors. Alright. We actually need to sell some crap in order to be able to afford to work. Wonderful. Okie dokie, I will just go ahead and ruin everything. Yeah, I'm gonna keep... I'm probably not training another monk, though. We'll go ahead and sell those. Go to pube. Dispatch for 3 days. Good. Wilder. Should be able to do this with no problem. We'll come back in exactly 3 days, so we'll just go ahead and move over here. Move over here and get paid. Yep. He just says that he cleared. No. The unit left crying. What a nice game. Alright. Go to pube. Wire cache. Fire. Okay, there we go. I don't have any items. I thought I got a sprinkler. So if I recall, that's 3 or 4 bombs that you gotta fight on this one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I see. So they make it specifically so you can't actually go and make it illegal. Addle will be blocked here, that's fine. I don't have anybody that can even use Addle. Let's do this thing. Apparently they don't exactly have a fire department. These things just sort of show up, start setting stuff on fire, and people have to go punch them. Like I said, pretty much everything in this entire world can apparently be solved in a bizarrely video gamey manner. Yeah, they'll burn that entire town made of stone down. But he failed physics. These are gonna wait. Let's see, Mont Blanc should probably be able to do like 30 or 40s to these, I think. We'll kind of just see as time goes on. Obviously, you don't want them to get to low health, otherwise they do their big old boom dealy. Underleveled, as usual. Used to be a running theme. Right. Same. Alright, so, you know, same old running theme as before. Just make a line, let everything charge at ya. For these guys, they can just go ahead and do their thing. Now, let me double check real quick what the cost for an illusionist is. Illusionist, FFTA. Funny thing is, I actually had the manual, like the old book and everything for this game. I want to say up until a few years ago. I actually kept that thing around for quite a while. Right, there's Blackout. There's one of those friggin' amazing abilities. Then blind him, please. That actually hit. Go figure, that whole 35% that I kept worrying about finally worked out for me here. Now, let's see. 3 White Mage A abilities, 5 Black Mage abilities. Okay, so it's exactly as I remembered then. Perfect. Really bummed out about that whole that whole thing with X-Div. So if you didn't see what had happened there, so X-Division is kind of like this. It's a fairly difficult mod for an already fairly difficult game. Okay, that does 19. Whereas Ice does more than that. Good. But anyway, so I had a mod going for about 2 months, give or take. There was essentially a bet in place that I couldn't even beat the thing on easy. So went ahead and took that bet. And, well, you know, was doing alright. Started taking a few losses. Essentially, you started taking a few risky moves in order to hopefully pull off some stuff, because you pretty much have to constantly figure out what you want to risk in order to be able to, well, in order to be able to actually win the thing. Because essentially you have to pull off a bunch of difficult maneuvers in order to capture certain things in order to be able to essentially use those things to move on and win. Like, for example, you know, you might run into some new fancy weapon type or something, so you need to go capture a whole bunch of them. Essentially, you just get them all studied, get a bunch of them dismantled, and then from then on, you basically go and you develop other stuff you develop countermeasures to it, you develop your own versions of whatever the thing are, and like in the base thing, you ended up doing a fair bit of that. In XDiv, it's just like little increments all over the place. So it's very interesting how he did it, but point being, you know, was having that run going for like 2 months. I was about to pull off a pretty friggin' fun maneuver, and then the thing just started crashing itself. For whatever reason. Like, it just crashes upon save. And yeah, the bummer is, just got news a little bit ago here that unless one of the official devs knows how to remove whatever random friggin' byte of data is causing the thing to kill itself, that run's basically dead. So, that would suck if that happened. Well, I mean, in that case, I guess I'd just start over, but still sucks that can even happen. Still can't even get an answer as to why it happened, really. What can you do, though, right? What can you do? Oh, GG, I just got a crap ton of messages on my phone from you. So yeah, I think this will be the last one for now. Just because I have to go get other stuff taken care of for today. But yeah, I think this thing gets an unfair amount of flack. You know, it's actually a pretty darn amazing game. Like, pretty much what he was trying to do, he was trying to make people constantly switch up what they were doing. It was more or less kind of taking the FFT formula and shoving it in a blender, going and randomizing everything. And, you know, I'd say in many ways it succeeded. You're always going in with new abilities, you're definitely cross-classing more. If you find one class, you maybe won't even be able to stick to it forever, because, you know, maybe that thing will suddenly not be allowed in one fight. And so all that guy can do is sit around. So, you know, you'll want more abilities around and more things, and they added like all kinds of different mechanics, like you can go and capture these guys with a Beastmaster or something like that. And essentially you go and you use all of their abilities to do other stuff, and then go use all those abilities on a blue mage to teach him that kind of stuff. I should probably make a maxed out blue mage out of Ramza, shouldn't I? That might be fun. Them things are awesome. I wonder if this was actually the first time that they actually went really deep into what you could do with a blue mage. Like, it didn't go very deep, just because there were only like maybe a dozen abilities they could actually learn. But man, they were overpowered. Like, especially White Wind of all things. Yeah, no, that thing was pretty stupid OP. Yep, sure thing, OGG. So, hope to see you around there. It's a never-growing community. They're always doing new cool stuff there. And we're actually doing a community run of FFT if you want in on that too. I've been posting a few little bits of it here and there, so, you know, that's always fun. So, I mean, we had a few people that were forced to drop out due to random life occurrences, so always looking for more spots on that one. I think it's like 4 of us left that are rotating the save, and right now it's gotten to the point where everyone's just kind of going and pretty much shuffling around the party the entire time. We've already got Hank Hill as a friggin' meme, because everyone's trying to make him the beefiest possible. Like last time that I got him, I went and made him into essentially a knight that punches things. He was just a brawler knight that spends the entire time countering everything. And then he just punched out a minotaur, and it was great. But there's that. There's that. I just probably described it in the dullest, most unenthusiastic way possible. Such things happen. I've been told I'm not very interesting. It's just a way of life. It still makes me wonder if around the Tactics Ogre office, when they were going and doing the remake and they had all these old assets and everything, they're like, technically, you know, it's not laziness, it's a reference when they were going and reusing all the sprites. I don't know. Oh well, this is a pretty easy fight, all things considered. It'd definitely be worse. I think it's just the starter gear that's garbage. Which, you know, downside of that stuff, I suppose. I love the music in this game. Just go ahead and stay there. Then just go whack this one. I know he's gonna get finished off, but that's fine. I mean, such things happen. He got his experience, he got his everything, so he'll be fine. Well, yeah, you know what? Mr. Shern had an interesting point. Technically, I had a save from a few missions prior to that whole thing when I was just going and messing around. Ideas. Ideas. I mean, I guess technically... Well, I mean, technically it would be skipping a failed base defense and allowing me to redo it. But that'd be pretty nifty. I mean, overall it'd be a pretty much net positive. Actually, the funny thing is, I was kind of excited to redo that base thing because then I could have potentially gotten a bunch of cool stuff. Oh no, dang it. Just don't know. Whatever. I'll probably ask with see what the dude guy tells me to do. The guy with the actual brain on his shoulders. There's another mist swarm. Go get Mr. Lizard Dog Man guy. I'll read on here. See, I kind of wish that this one had that feature for going and renaming your units, because unfortunately that's something that the portable ones never really had. You couldn't rename your dudes. So for example, one thing that it was really, well, almost necessary to do in FFT was you would start off the thing, you would go immediately get rid of the ones that you started with, and then you'd go to the recruitment shop. You're like, yay, get somebody with like freaking 75 brave on them. Fantastic. And then, you know, you just go and re-roll them until you got what you wanted. And, yeah, it was good stuff. Anyway, that'll be that for this one, so I'll see you next time.